So we won't be going into, fine. So this is getting recorded now. Also, can we have like a very quick +1 in the chat for from people who haven't done any sort of, hash code contest before or any optimization contest before?
Recording.
Okay, so we have quite a lot of people. Good. So this session will be particularly for you guys. I mean, for people who have already attempted optimization contests and, for them, this session won't be making a lot of sense because I will be going from the very scratch. I won't be going into, stuff like very, very heavy stuff like simulated annealing and all of that. So we won't be discussing that. So the score that you see right now on my screen, which is 3733, we will not be trying to achieve a similar score. We will be trying to achieve a good enough score. Okay. So we won't be talking about a lot of randomization in this session. That is what I wanted to say here. Yeah. So this session will be particularly for beginners. Right. So we'll start in another 2 minutes. Okay. So I mean, 10 p.m. is the starting time. So we'll start at that time only. Before that, if any of you have any doubts around this hash code or any optimization contest, you guys are free to sort of unmute right now. Right. In case you have any doubts about what will we be discussing in this session and all of that, you guys are free to write in the chat or even, unmute. But when
Do we have to make team for this practice session?
Yeah, you have to make a team. Okay, so good point. You have to make a team in order to participate in Hashcode. Okay, so right now I already have a team, and that is why I am able to attempt this Hashcode. Also, I'll leave the link to this in the chat here, right? So you can follow this link. And again, in this session, I will not be trying to set up your team and all of that stuff. We will not be wasting a lot of time. This session will be a short session, around 1 hour. Okay, so you can visit this link and you can go into this practice round. But for people who don't have a team right now, you can just watch my screen. You don't have to specifically code anything up. You will have to just understand how it's done, right? What should be the level of a person to attempt? So you don't have to have any level. All you have to know is one programming language. Fine. Optimization contest in the sense means that we are not arriving at a final solution. I mean, the solution that we will be designing will be, sort of like an approximation. Sorry, I should have said approximation contest. Like I shouldn't have said optimization. Optimization is what we will be doing inside that, right? So this is like an approximation contest. So wherein you don't get an actual score. I mean, you don't get the final verdict as accepted, wrong answer, or TLE. You get the verdict as your score. I mean, if your score is high enough, it means that you're, you have made a good summation. Fine. So does this much make sense to all of you till now? Okay. Fine. Just a minute. Okay, so this is the problem that we're going to discuss. First of all, can people who, I mean, for people that are able to open this problem, can we have a +1 from them so that I know that so many people are already, have already read this problem or something like that. How is this different from Google Kickstart apart from it being a team contest? Very good question. So in Google Kickstart, if you have 4 problems, each of these 4 problems has a verdict as accepted or, something like not accepted. So I can probably, open my OneNote here. So when you talk about, just a minute. Yeah, when you talk about Kickstart, so every problem that you have has a verdict, whether it is right or whether it is wrong. Fine. And when you talk about hash code, there is no verdict like wrong or right. The verdict is like how better your solution is. I mean, how good your solution is. Fine. So let's say I tell you that you have to, I mean, it could be anything. Okay. So let's say I tell you to maximize a certain score, right? And if your solution is, let's say, giving a score of 100, and somebody comes up with a solution that is giving a score of 102, then it is considered that the person who is giving a score of 102 is better. Fine, but there is no thing like accepted or rejected. Max number of team members. So there are 4 members that you can have in a team, and the minimum number of members that you can have in a team is 2. Fine. So right. So let's try to understand the problem, and also we'll understand how exactly things are different here when you talk about approximation contests. Fine. So I think we can read this problem together. So First of all, for people who haven't been able to open the link that I've shared, you guys can refer to my screen here. So in this problem, this is a single problem, but this single problem has multiple test cases. Fine. So let me just show you that first of all. So there are like these 5 test cases, and A, B, C, D, and E. Fine. These are test cases that are given to us. Like in a normal contest, test cases are not given to us, right? The test cases are hidden. But in this contest, the test cases are given to us, and we need to submit output files. Fine. So in all of these test cases, we need to submit an output file, and along with that, we need to submit a code. So even if you don't submit a correct code, even if you submit a totally garbage code, it doesn't make sense. But all that makes sense is, all that matters is what your output contains. Fine. So I can submit anything in the code here, but my output should be actually what is desired. Are you guys able to hear me properly?
Yes.
Yeah. So cool. Because somebody was like not able to. Anyway, so let's try to understand the problem statement now. Now you know that there is just one problem. There are 5 test cases, and each of these 5 test cases will be having a different output. Now remember that for all of these 5 test cases, you don't have to write the same code, right? You can write a different code for all of these 5 test files. So what you have to do is, when you're looking at this problem, instead of just writing a very generic code, you also have to look at these test files. So let's say open C, the C input, and understand what is contained in this input. So I can sort of, do some data visualization or data, interpretation, and then I can make, and then I can write a different code, right? So does this make sense that you don't have to write the same code for all of these 5 input files? You can write different codes in order to maximize your score in each of them. Fine. So the problem statement is something like this: that you have a small shop, a small pizzeria, and in this pizzeria, you need to make one pizza. Now, this pizza has certain ingredients. So I can show you by this, that let's say you have a pool of ingredients. These are ingredient 1, 2, 3. And obviously, these ingredients are not determined by these numbers. These are determined by the names, right? So we have unique names, unique strings. Fine. Let's say we have M ingredients. Okay. And then we have N customers. So every customer has a dislike vector or and has a like vector. For example, let's call it a list. So let's say we talk about the first customer. First customer tells me that, I like the ingredients, let's say tomato and, anything like that. I like tomatoes, I like pineapple. Who likes pineapple on pizza? But anyway, so you can have pineapple here, right? Tomato, pineapple, or anything that you want, something like maybe beans, anything. Right. And this first customer also tells a dislike list. For example, he might not like, you can call anything here. He might not like extra cheese, for example, right? So he has a list of like ingredients and he has a list of dislike ingredients. So every customer has this. Now, what you need to do, you need to make just one pizza. This one pizza will be served to all the customers, right? So we have made, let's say, one pizza and we have kept certain ingredients in it. Let's say the ingredients are 2, 3, 5, 10, 12. Fine. Let's say these are the ingredients. Let's say the first person comes and he says that, I like 2, 3, but I don't like 12. So this means that this person cannot take this pizza, right? I'll tell you exactly when can a person eat a pizza. A person can eat a pizza if all of the like ingredients are present in that pizza and none of the dislike ingredients are present in that pizza, right? So this is what is written here. Everyone has their own pizza preferences. Each of your potential clients has some ingredients they like and maybe some ingredients they dislike. Also, the list can be empty as well. The list of dislike ingredients can be empty, but the list of like ingredients will be always, will always be like non-empty. Fine. Each client will come to your pizzeria if both conditions are true. All ingredients that they like are on the pizza. None of the ingredients that they dislike are on the pizza, right? So is the problem statement clear to everyone now? First of all, I want to have a +1 from everyone who's able to understand this problem. Okay, good. Now what is required? We need to construct one pizza. We need to construct one pizza with certain ingredients such that the number of customers that we are able to satisfy is maximum. Fine. So can you see that this is like a very open-ended problem, that for every ingredient you have a choice whether you want to include it or you don't want to include it, right? So can you first of all tell me how many number of pizzas are possible here? Let's say if I tell you that there are M ingredients, how many number of pizzas are possible here? 2 to the power m. Somebody just wrote in the chat 2 to the power m. Good. So can you see that every ingredient has a choice? It can be picked or it can be not picked. So let's say I am trying to construct my pizza in the sense of ingredients. that I will pick this ingredient or I will not pick this one, right? So I can have 2 to the power m ingredients, 2 to the power m pizzas. For example, if I tell you that you have, let's say you have ingredients 1, 2. So the possible type of pizzas are that you don't have any ingredient, which is like 0, you don't have any ingredient. The second one could be we have 1, the third one we could have 2, and the fourth one we could have 1, 2. Right? So these are the 2 or 4 possible type of pizzas that we can have here. Right? So is this making sense till now, everyone? That how many type of pizzas can we have? Okay, so for people that have joined late, you can watch the recording. I'll be probably sharing the recording. Chinmay, is it getting recorded?
Yes, don't worry.
Okay, fine. So right now, can you see that this is like an if you try to construct all the pizzas, this will go exponential, right? If I give you m equals to something like 100, you cannot be going and writing a 2 to the power 100 type of a solution, right? This will obviously give you a TLE. So this is like an approximation that we want to construct here. We want to understand which pizzas should we pick and which pizzas should we not pick, right? We have to construct it in such a way. Okay, so let me try to show you this with an example here. So we have 3 customers here. The first customer has two like preferences, which are cheese and peppers, and he has 0 dislikes. So he doesn't dislike any ingredient. Similarly, the second person has the like preference as basil, right? And he has a dislike preference as pineapple. I mean, he's like a sensible person because he doesn't like pineapple on pizza. So yeah. And if you talk about the third person, he has mushrooms and tomatoes in his like preference, and basil in his dislike preference. So can you see that if I choose these ingredients, cheese, mushrooms, tomatoes, and peppers, which all customers can I satisfy? Can I satisfy the first customer? Maybe you can write it in the chat. Can I satisfy the first customer with these ingredients? Cheese, mushrooms, tomatoes, and peppers. Yes, we can. What about the second one? Can we satisfy the second one? He needs basil and he doesn't need pineapple, but we don't have basil here, right? So, fine. And what about the third one? Can we satisfy this? We need mushrooms and tomatoes. We have both mushrooms and tomatoes, but we don't have basil and we don't need it also. Fine. So we can satisfy 2 customers here. So that is why I can show you the test cases first of all. So I think just a minute. So this is Google Hashcode and these are the input files. So let's open the first input file. This is the A input file that we have. And this is the same as what is given in the sample. So can you see that the maximum answer that we can get is 2 customers? Can we get a maximum answer as 3 customers? Tell me this. Can we sorry, let me sort of just maximize this. So this is the sample input, and can we choose ingredients in such a way that we can pick up all the customers? Tell me this. We cannot, right? Because also looking at the input, this is very clear that if we choose basil, we can pick up this one, but if we choose it, we won't be able to pick up this one. Fine. So this is like a cycle here, if you look at it. So if we have a cycle, we can only pick one of them. Fine. Oh, this makes a lot of sense. So the solutions that I've written till now don't have any application of graphs, but this is making some sense that I can also include some graphs here, because this is like a cycle here, right? Like and dislike being coming together, right? Anyway, let's not talk about the final solution, but till now it should be clear that if I submit anything like let me sort of open my code here. Don't look at the code, don't look at this whole code, don't look at the input file, just look at the output file, okay? And we'll be trying to make some submissions. Fine, let's say this is my submission for now. Okay, give me another output which will generate the same score. Let me move this here. Right, so give me another output which will generate the same score. We have this output, one of them is this output. Tell me another output which will give the same result. Can I choose these? Cheese. Sorry, let me just copy this because this is like a lot of random stuff. Okay, can we choose cheese, mushrooms, and basil only? Will this also give me the same score? Tell me this. Will it also give me the same score, or will it change my score? Cheese, peppers, mushrooms. Sorry, we don't have peppers here, right? We should have had peppers as well. We have cheese and pepper, so this will satisfy the first customer. Then we have basil, which will satisfy the second customer, but it won't satisfy the third customer. So can you see that this also will be giving me the same output? So let's try to make a submission here. right? And this is the main reason I'm making this extra submission, is to show you guys that we can get the same score with different outputs. Fine. So let's try to submit this here. Just a minute. So I'll also tell you exactly how do you submit. So let's say I choose a code here, and I can submit anything that I want. It doesn't matter what I'm submitting in the code. So let me just submit any random file. Let's say I submit testgenerator.cpp, and in the output, let's say I submit my actual thing. So this is Google hash code, and then I have output.txt. So I hope I have saved this thing. Yeah, I guess I have. So let's try to make a submission now. Now understand, the code doesn't matter. I haven't actually done anything with my code right now. This is something that I've done just with my hand, because this is a very small input. Oh, did we not get a submission here? Let me refresh this. I don't know what happened. Anyway, so let's try to submit anything, code b.cpp, anything. And in this output, we'll submit the actual output. Fine. So now it is getting submitted. So let's see what our score will be in this problem, in this single input. Okay, so now the score is 2. Fine. So how you change the output? Okay, got it. Anyway, now let's talk about how do I actually find the score how do I find the score locally? Let's say I tell you that your code is something like, your code is generating one output. Let's say you are generating one output, and let's say you want to generate 10 outputs and want to compare them. How will you do this? Tell me this, anybody in the chat. If I generate 10 outputs and I want to compare which one is the best, how do I compare it? Will I make 10 submissions on Google hash code, or what will I do? How will I determine what is the actual score that my output will generate when I submit this file? Make a score function. Very good. So you will have to make a local simulator. What is a simulator? A simulator is something that will actually simulate the whole process and will give you a score. Fine. So this is what I have in my code. Right now, you don't have to understand how everything in the code is working. Okay. All you have to understand is what I'm trying to explain to you right now. Fine. So this you don't have to understand. This try picking ingredient and all of that shit. So look at this int simulator. This is the part where I'm sending in the list of ingredients that I'm picking up, right? And this is the part which tells me what will be my actual score when I submit this. Fine. So this way, what I can do is I can try out 100 different outputs and I can compare them. I don't have to make 100 submissions. So can you understand that if I have to make 100 submissions on Google hash code, I will have to spend at least 500 seconds. Every submission will require at least... Okay, just a minute. Can Chinmay probably mute people? Yeah. So can you guys understand that if I have to make 100 submissions on Google hash code, I will have to spend at least 500 seconds. Give me a +1 in the chat if this is making sense. If I am making every single submission and I'm checking the score on it, this will at least require 500 seconds, right? But if I tell you to compare these 100 inputs, this is like 1 second thing, right? You won't even require a single second and you will pick up the maximum one. Right. And what this also tells you is that, let's say, I mean, this is pretty strange right now. We're already talking about some randomization. But let's say I tell you that you have a list of ingredients, and let's say you randomly pick some ingredients. Right. Let's say this is S1, which is like the set of ingredients that you have picked right now. Let's say this is S2. So you have random. This is totally random. OK, this is random. This is random. The random ingredients that you have picked. So can you see that I can now compare these two outputs? If I have a local simulator or a local scoring function, what this will tell me is that, I have this one input, I have this one output, and I have this one output. Compare these two and give me the best one. So I'll pick up the best one and I'll only store this one. I lost track at this. Sorry, we cannot be repeating stuff because we have a lot of people here, but you can definitely watch the recording. Right. So tell me if this is clear till now, that I can construct, let's say, 1 million random outputs and I can compare them. Tell me if this is clear or not. At this point, after I have constructed my local simulator, I can construct 10 to the power 6 or even 10 to the power 7. I can let this code run for 1 hour. I mean, Google hash code is a contest of 4 hours. So I can let this code run for 1 hour and I can try picking up totally random, things. Now, this is also very, this will be very beneficial when you actually attempt the final hash code round. So what a lot of people do is they try to, find the actual solution, the final solution. How will they find the actual main result? This is not what you should be aiming at, right? Can you explain this part again? Which part do you want me to explain again? The part where we are generating random outputs. Simulator one. Okay. So a simulator is something that mimics what Google Hashcode does at backend. So in order to calculate this code too, Google Hashcode is running some code at the backend, right? Google is running some code at backend, which is taking our output as input and generating this score as the output. So instead of relying on this Google backend server to make every single submission and getting a score, why can't I just write a local simulator, a local scoring function, to which I will supply my output and it will tell me the actual result. Now, how will this be beneficial? I can generate 10 to the power 6 random outputs, right? And I can compare them, and I'll show you exactly how I can do that, right? So first of all, don't try to understand what is there in this code. Just try to understand what are the concepts, okay? Because if I go on and explain every single line in this code, it won't make sense. And every single one of you will be implementing stuff differently. Fine. So let's not talk about all of this random stuff here. Let's talk about, let's not talk about generating random cases. Generating random outputs. It is pretty simple. You have to construct a vector, and every place you can assign a 1 or a 0. So you can, do it randomly, right? And after generating one output, you can compare it, right? So let's talk about input A. Can I generate a better answer in input A? Tell me this first of all. I have the answer as 2. Can I generate a better output? No. Good point. Okay. Now what about test case B? I should be moving to test case B, right? If I already have a good enough score in A, I should be moving to test case B now. So let's look at B now. Just a minute. It is very important that even before you start writing your code for every single input file, you have to understand what is there in the input. Okay, it is very, very important. Now look at this input. Can you see that every customer that you look at here has only like preferences? He doesn't have any dislike preferences. Can you see this input? This is very strange. This is not a random input. This is a strange input which is constructed for this special case. So can you see that if I just take up all these ingredients, I will be able to get all of these customers. I can make a pizza with all of these ingredients and I will get all of these customers. So tell me if this makes sense or not. Right. So looking at input B, it is very clear that I don't have to even write code for input A and input B. I can just pick up all of these, ingredients and I will be done. So let's not talk about input B as well. So the answer for input B is 5. That is the best answer that I can have for B. Fine. Let's now talk about C. Let's see what is the best answer that we can get in C. So now look at this. Just a minute. First of all, look at this. There are like limited number of customers. How many customers are there? There are 10 customers, right? So I can try to, or even I can, try to find out how many ingredients are there. First of all, let's try to do this. So let's say this is the input that I have right now. Let's try to debug the number of ingredients that I have unique. Fine. So let's try to do this. So this tells me that I have 10 ingredients. So first of all, tell me what was the initial exponential solution that you were talking about? What was the time complexity of that? The initial exponential solution. If I have m ingredients, what is the time complexity of that? That is 2 to the power m, right? And can you see that this m is very small? This is 2 to the power m. So I can try out all possibilities here. Can I try out all possibilities here or not? Tell me this. I have a simulator function. First of all, understand this. I can only try out all 2 to the power 10 possibilities if I have a scoring function. If I don't have a scoring function, trying out possibilities, that doesn't make sense. I cannot be trying out 1,000 submissions on Google Hashcode just to get a score of 5 here, right? Look at this. The maximum score that I can get for input C is 5. I cannot make 2 to the power 10 submissions on this Google Hashcode thing and try to get the score of every submission, right? You can simulate that. Definitely you can simulate that as well. But that is like not efficient, right? If I have a simulator function which tells me the best pizza that I can have, I will submit that. So can you see that I can generate the best answer for C without doing anything, without any optimization, without doing any approximation? So till now, we have the best answer for A, we have the best answer for B, we have the best answer for C. And now is the time when things actually change. Now is the time when we actually have to approximate stuff. So first of all, look at my submissions. You will see that I'm actually improving my submissions. And I'm only able to improve my submission because I have a local simulator. I am stressing on this fact again and again, just because, you know, in the last Google Hash Code, the last time that I gave Google Hash Code, I did not make a local simulator. And that was the biggest mistake from our team. If you don't have a local simulator, you are as good as, you know, not submitting anything on Google Hash Code. Look at this. If I'm submitting this output and I know my score is 1492, and I know that my next submission score is 1524, I will only be making a submission when my score is improving. Why will I ever want to make a submission when my score is decreasing? First of all, tell me this. Why would I ever want to, you know, waste my time in making a submission if my score is decreasing? So let's say I wrote a code which gave me the solution as 1492 initially. And then what I did was I did some thinking, some mathematical thinking, and then I made another submission. I made a submission which had a score of 1524. Do they penalize for multiple submissions? No, you don't get penalized for any multiple submissions. You are allowed to make infinite number of submissions. Fine. So having a local simulator is the most important thing. And trust me, once you have that, you can spend at least an hour on making a local simulator, a fast enough local simulator. Also, it is very important that I stress upon the fact of making a fast local simulator. If I look at this local simulator, I have tried to make it as fast as possible. I have tried to optimize everything that I can in this, because this is something that will be getting run, that will run multiple times, that will run million times, billion times probably sometimes. How to create local simulator? You have to understand what is the question demanding, what is the score. So here the score is the maximum number of customers that you're picking up. So my local simulator here is how is it defined? It is defined by a set of ingredients that I'm taking. And for all these ingredients, it is checking which all customers are getting satisfied. Right? So it is very important again to make a fast enough local simulator, because the faster your local simulator is, the more number of possibilities you will be able to explore. Fine. So till now, is everything clear? Are you able to get something out of the session? If we don't get penalized, then we can submit it multiple times. Why? Okay, very good point. Himang, I don't know how to pronounce that anyway. So let's consider a possibility. Let's say I tell you have 10 to the power 6 possibilities. So tell me, will you be making 10 to the power 6 submissions on Google Hash Code for this, for trying out all the scores? Or instead, will you be writing a local simulator which tries out all the 10 to the power 6 possibilities and picks up the best one? So tell me, which one is more efficient? Making 10 to the power 6 submissions on Google Hash Code, or trying out all possibilities locally and then submitting the best one? Right. So this is why I am stressing upon this fact, and trust me, you will be benefiting from it a lot. Once you have a local simulator, things will be very different. Trust me. And I can give you a very good example of this. In last year's Google Hash Code, we didn't have a local simulator, and we didn't get a very good rank because we were trying to make every single submission again and again. I don't know if I can show you that here. And we were even making submissions when our score was decreasing. Can you imagine? We didn't have a local simulator, so we were trying to submit even submissions that were, that had a lesser score. How to create local simulator? I've already talked about that. You can watch the recording again if you haven't understood till now. So I can show you this. Probably I can show you my profile here. I hope I'm not, displaying data that is not supposed to be displayed. Anyway, so this was our rank in the Google Hash Code last year, and this was a pretty bad rank, to be honest. We didn't have a local simulator. We were trying out all sorts of random stuff, and nothing was working. Fine. And similarly, just after this Google Hash Code round, the last year's Google Hash Code round, I guess around after a month or two, we had this reply challenge. So reply challenge is again an approximation contest. Fine. And we were able to get India rank 1 in that, just because of the fact that we had a local simulator. And at the end, we tried out a lot of random test cases, a lot. And some of them had a very significant score. So we submitted them. So the local simulator does not change for every problem. You will get only one problem in Google Hash Code. There will be multiple test cases. So the scoring function will be same. The test cases will be different. The input will be different. The score will always be calculated in the same way. Fine. So now let's talk about problem D. Now we are talking about, not problem D, but input D. So let's try to make any random submission since we already know what a local simulator is. Let's come up with some approach. Tell me some approaches on picking up ingredients now. Now let's talk about actual crucial stuff. We are defining an algorithm now. So tell me, when would you like to pick an ingredient and when would you not like to pick an ingredient? Tell me this. Any random thoughts that come to your mind. Nothing is wrong here. Everything is correct.
We can pick all those ingredients which have liked by most number of people.
Okay, let's say I tell you you have an ingredient A which is liked by, let's say, 10 people and it is disliked by 5 people. Would you want to pick this up?
Yeah, like more number of people are liking it.
Minimum okay, so somebody is suggesting we should pick up ingredients with minimum number of likes, with minimum number of dislikes, sorry. Similarly, you can have an algorithm wherein you pick an ingredients which have a maximum number of likes. So let's try to implement both of these and let's try to find the answer. Okay, so we have this here. First of all, okay, I'll have to do a lot of stuff here anyway. So let's try to sort these ingredients. Okay, first of all, and when will we pick an ingredient? First of all, tell me this. Don't pick ingredient which is in both like and dislike of some people. Okay, very good point. So think about all of these algorithms. Think about what can work. Ingredient with no dislikes. Okay, very good point, Rohit. Can we always pick an ingredient with no dislikes? Should we always pick that ingredient which is not disliked by anybody? It could be liked by somebody, but it is not disliked by anybody. So this is a very good point. We should pick that ingredient for sure. So let's try to do that first thing. So let's say this is my unordered set pick and this is not picked. So let's say, just a minute. So let me just iterate on my ingredients vector. Don't try to understand this code. Try to understand what I'm coding here. Okay. Try to understand the logic. So here, what is the logic? Pick up all ingredients which are not disliked by anybody. Fine. So is the algorithm clear to everyone for now? We are trying to find the score in this one. Map every ingredient with the number of likes and dislikes. So yeah, I have this stored already, but we'll try to iterate on this, right? So let's try to iterate on all these ingredients. For auto I is to ingredients, and the spelling of ingredients here is wrong, and don't try to correct that because I know it. Okay, so don't try to correct it. Anyway, let's try to understand which all ingredients are we picking up. So let's say if I tell you that this ingredient is not disliked by anybody, if sz of I dot dislikes, let me just see how is an ingredient defined. So we have a like vector and we have a dislike vector. Likes vector stores the customers that are liking it, and the dislike vector stores the customers that are disliking this. So let's say I tell you that if si dot I dot dislikes is equal to 0, then I pick this, else I don't pick it. Right. So now I try to construct my answer. Let's see. Just a minute. We have to pick this ingredient, right? So we have to pick its ID. Don't try to understand how everything is working behind, but just try to understand the logic. So you will be implementing everything on your own in a different style. Okay, so we are getting answer.ff as 0. Okay, we are talking about this input, right? We are talking about input D. So let's try to open D first of all, input D. Where is it? Yeah, this one. Okay. So let's look at this. Okay, so the answer is still 0. Let's try to debug pick. I guess I'm not picking up anything. Just a minute. So I'm picking up all of these, but I'm not getting a score. So the score is 0, even after picking up all of these ingredients. Okay, fine enough. Let's try to pick up all the ingredients. First of all, let's try to pick them all up. Right, let's try to find the score for that. I think my simulator may be broken. So let's try to do this. Why am I getting answer as 0? Oh, sorry, I haven't really called my simulator function. Sorry, I haven't called my simulator function. That is why I'm getting answer as 0. Okay, now let's try to understand. So can you see that I'm getting an answer as 1420? If I'm picking up all the ingredients that are not disliked by anybody. So this is some score that I'm getting, right? Can you see that I'm already getting a score? And in order to, it is very important that your local simulator is correct. If your local simulator is broken, everything is broken. Nothing will work. If let's say my local simulator is telling me that the score is 1420 and Google Hashcode tells me that the output that you've made has a score of 1400, then I mean, it doesn't make sense, right? So let's try to submit this. Let's try to submit this output that I've generated now. D. So I have output.txt and I have code. I can submit anything. It doesn't really matter. Right, but that said, I am not really sure if they actually verify the code at the end of the contest. So make sure that you're actually, submitting code that makes sense, that is actually generating that output. Don't make, random submission in the code. So can you see that I'm getting 1420 as the answer here? So this was one algorithm that we discussed. Now tell me, what are the other ingredients that I can pick up? First of all, let's see, we have 600 ingredients. And how many are we picking up here? First of all, tell me this, how many are we picking up from this algorithm that we just discussed, that we are going to pick up only the ingredients which have no dislikes. So tell me this. How many ingredients have we already picked up by running this algorithm? You can probably write it in the chat. 600. 600 is the total number of ingredients. Okay, this is the total. This is the output that I'm making. How many ingredients have I selected? I have selected 100 ingredients, right? Now let's come up with some other algorithm, because this is how it will work. Right now, I'm not discussing any random approaches. Okay. Right now, I'm not discussing any simulated annealing and all of that stuff. This will come at a very later stage. We can discuss about that in some other session. But right now, we're trying to actually develop algorithms that will help us define a score. Right. So come up with another algorithm. Let's try to talk about another algorithm. And also, since we've already talked about this, let's also try to make the same submission in e.cpp. Sorry, not e.cpp, input e. Because we already have this, right? So why not, if we have a code, why not make a submission for that as well? Why not generate some output? Also, can you guys notice that my simulator is taking very less time? My simulator is very fast. It is generating the output very quickly. Can you all observe this part, first of all? That my local simulator is not taking a lot of time to generate the output. Like dislike ratio, okay, this is a good algorithm, but first of all, let's try to understand some major things here. Can you understand that my local simulator is very fast? It is able to judge what will be the score very quickly. This is very important. If your local simulator is fast, you can try out so many possibilities. So can we see that the answer here is 412? So let's try to make that submission as well on e.cpp. Sorry, on this test case e. So we have output.txt and then we have this. We can submit anything, but again, submit things that actually make sense. So let's try to see what our answer is here. It has at least 10 different outputs, because then you can be sure that whatever your simulator is making as an output, it is correct. So then you can leave your code and leave the code and let it run for at least an hour. Then you don't have to worry whether my local simulator is broken or something like that. Fine. So yeah, somebody was suggesting another algorithm. Yeah, tell me, what were you suggesting? Like and dislike ratio. We can sort the customers with respect to their weighted want length. Oh, nice. So you want me to sort the customers based on how many ingredients do they like. So what Mrinmoy is suggesting here is this. He's saying that you can have, if you have customers here, why not sort them on the basis of the ingredients, on the number of ingredients that they like. For example, if I have two customers, one of them likes one ingredient and dislikes, let's say, 5. The other one likes 5 ingredients and dislikes also 5. Which one would I want to pick up first? Tell me this. Which customer would I want to satisfy first? Which one? The first one or the second one? The first one, right? Because it has lesser requirement. So yeah, very good point. Let's try to do that here. So let's try to sort the customers based on that. And what are you suggesting after that? After we sort it, what do you do after that? How do you pick ingredients? How do you decide whether this customer has to be chosen or not? Tell me this. Better should be sort on basis of dislike, longer, dislike, leave, okay, list. No, but that all of this is fine. All of this is fine. You're sorting, but how are you deciding which one to pick and which one to not pick? If I'm sorting everything, then everything is being picked. Which one is not being picked? Tell me this. Sorting is fine.
likes and all the ingredients that he dislikes. And
Just a minute. Sorry, I'm not able to hear you. Let me just increase my volume here. Yeah, come again.
like we will maintain the ingredients of the pizza and the ingredients not to put on the pizza. So the
Okay, I am really sorry, but you're not audible properly. Is it with everyone or is it with just me that he's not audible properly? Yeah. So you're not audible. Probably you can write things that you want to in the chat. Also, till then, can you guys confirm if you are learning something from this session? Is this session actually making some progress? I mean, is it actually providing you with some insights, or is it like totally a waste of time that this guy is doing some random shit here? Okay, good to see that some people are learning from it anyway.
hello, is this better?
Yeah, it is better now.
Okay, so I was just telling you to maintain a list of ingredients to put in the pizza and ingredients not to put in the pizza.
Okay.
So every time we encounter a customer, we check if the ingredients he likes are already is any of the dislike ingredients is in his liked list, or yeah, both the check-ins.
Okay, but also, are you sorting customers here? Are you also
Yeah.
trying to sort?
Yeah,
How are
I
you?
have sorted the customers first with respect to their length of their liked plus length of their dislike list.
Okay, good point. Let's try to implement this. Very good point. Let's try to implement it. Right. So we have this. Let's try to remove all of this. I think we can comment it out because this is something that is actually important for me. So let's try to not comment this, but let's try to talk about another algorithm, which is what can you tell me your name first of all?
Mine.
Yeah.
I am Renmon.
Okay, yeah. So let's talk about. Okay, do we also have Parth here? अकेले तू भी बता दे कुछ चीजें. Anyway, so let's try to talk about this algorithm. What is this? Sort customers based on length, based on number of dislikes. Right? And how are we picking customers? Pick a customer if all the ingredients, sorry, if none of the ingredients that he dislikes are already chosen. This is what you're suggesting, right?
Yeah, like first come first served.
Fine, good. So let's try to do this. Let's try to first of all sort the customers. So we'll do a sort customers, right? And we'll define a comparator here. How are we comparing? By the length of their dislikes. So let's try to define a comparator here. Do I already have a comparator here itself? Let me just see that. Okay, I don't. So we're trying to sort customers, right? So the comparator should be coming after customers. So let's try to define a comparator here itself. Okay, so we have customer 1 and C, customer, we can have and A and B. And how are we sorting? We are sorting on the basis of number of dislikes. So return A dot, return A dot what? We have S set of A dot dislike is less than S set of B dot dislike. Right? Is this making sense that I'm sorting on the basis of number of dislikes? The person which has lesser dislikes will be coming up first. So this is my like and dislike vector for customer. So this is what is happening. Fine. So let's say we have sorted now, and let's try to just first run this once and then run our actual algorithm, right? So now we are doing this. Customers, right? Then we are trying to check if this customer can be picked or not. So this is what we'll be doing for auto and J is inside I dot dislike. If picked dot count J. If it is picked, then we cannot pick. Right. So here I'm checking if I can pick this up or not. Right. And now if I can pick this up, I will pick this up, right? And when I talk about picking a customer, what does it mean? I have to pick up the customers I have to pick up the ingredients which are liked by this customer, right? So is this making sense till now? That first of all I've sorted, then I'm trying to pick up a customer only if all the ingredients that he dislikes are not there already on the picked list, right? So this is what I'm going to do now. If also I haven't really run this algorithm. I did not try this algorithm before. So this might also generate a better output in what I've already done, right? So this is, I think, a good enough algorithm for now. So if we have cannot pick, right, then what I'll do is I'll do this for auto and j is I dot like, and I'll pick this up. Pick dot insert j. Fine. Let's now try to find our answer. So we have this algorithm. Let's try to find our answer. Okay, so we are getting 1663 in which one? This is input which one? This is input E. So can you see what was our previous output? 412. And what is our what is our output now? Look at this 1663. So can you see that this is like a very big improvement on our actual answer? So a very good algorithm for anybody who suggested this thing. This is a good enough score. Trust me, this is a very good score for E problem. Fine. Look,
I think we can improve it further by taking into consideration the like list too, the length of the like list.
oh, sorry. I was muted. Can you tell me when was I muted? Sorry. Before the submission. Okay. Sorry. So was the algorithm clear to everyone? Till then, was it clear to everyone? The algorithm that we just discussed, that the number of dislikes for the customer which has less dislikes, we should take that first. And when are we taking that customer? We are only taking that customer. No. After sorting, what did we do? Okay, so the sorting is clear, right? We are picking up customers which have lesser number of dislikes first. And how are we actually deciding whether we want to pick up a customer? We are seeing that what are the already picked up ingredients. If the already picked up ingredients have an ingredient which is disliked by our current customer, we won't pick this current customer. Can you submit this also for D? Right, sure. We can try out this for D as well. Good thing that you reminded. So let's try to submit the same thing for D as well. Okay, so we are getting 1441. What was our previous score? Let's see. Our previous score was 1421. So 1420. So we should submit it. So good point. Oh, the host muted you. I'm not able to understand, Chinmay, what you're doing.
I haven't done anything.
Okay. So when did you guys actually lose me again? Really sorry for this whole thing. But we did actually try it out for D as well. Okay, so now is everything clear that this algorithm? Okay, but still this should be clear, right? Because we had an algorithm, we ran it on input D and we ran it on input E, and we looked at our answers, right? And if we checked that our actual answer is increasing, so we submitted it. Fine. So what was Mrinmoy suggesting again? Can you come again? What you were suggesting? We have considered the dislikes. Yeah.
Now we can add the likes also, the length of the likes, and distribute the weight as 1:2.
Distribute the weight as 1:2. What do you mean by that?
I mean, 1 times length of like vector plus 2 times length of dislike vector.
Oh, nice. So what you're suggesting is that the person who has just a minute. the person who has less dislikes, you will try to pick that up. The person who has less likes, you will also want to pick that up, right?
Yeah.
So the number of likes and the number of dislikes, you're trying to minimize both of them. Good. So we can have if sz of a dot dislike plus, let's say, sz of, or let's have this like this only. Let's not try to assign a weight right now. So let's say we have a dot like. So what this is meaning, what this is saying, what we're trying to do here is that for the person which has lesser likes, which has lesser dislike, we'll try to pick that up first, right? This is exactly what I said here. If I have two people and both of them has similar dislike count, I would want to pick up that person which has lesser like count, right? Because then I want lesser ingredients to satisfy the same person. So good point. Let's try to run this. Let's try to see if our score is improving or not. So for input D, it is not improving. Let's try to do it for input E. Let's see if our score improves. So our score actually decreased. Initially we were getting 1663, but it decreased. So it is not like, every logical thing that you will do will work. So it is not like that. Okay. So this is not working, but this was again a very good suggestion. Fine. So we have some algorithms in our mind. Tell me any other algorithm that is coming to your mind and we'll try to implement it. But this whole session was till this point only. The learnings from this session are this, that you need to have a local simulator. You need to understand the problem statement correctly. Another learning would be to, write code that is readable. Don't
Mute.
sorry. Now am I audible? Yeah. So I was talking about the learnings that you should take from the session. The very first is that you should. I am not able to understand what is happening here. Chinmay, can you look at things?
What happened?
So I am getting muted.
Sorry. Let me check.
You are getting muted periodically.
I see. Will you provide this code for reference? No, not at all. You will have to code it up yourself. Yeah.
Actually, I got pretty good results for E with this. Like for the 1:2 weight, I got
1:2 weight. Okay.
1:854.
Let's try to do that. Again, a very good point by Mrinmoy. We should try to experiment with weights as well. When you talk about comparators, you should try to do stuff with weights. Let's try to assign 5 and 2. Fine. Let's try to assign this weight. That I am trying to minimum.
I randomized the weights.
Yeah, so we are right now in the session, we won't talk about randomization. We will only talk about actual static stuff. Right. So let's try to do this. Let's see if our score is improving. It is not. So let's try to randomize this. We can try to, let's not talk about randomization because this won't make sense to a lot of people. So let's try to assign 1 and 2 weight only for now. So we are getting 1562. What was the result that you were getting, Ninmay?
For E, I was getting 1854.
1854, and that is like an amazing score actually. What is my final score for E? Let me look at that. Yeah, my final score is 1916, but this also involves a lot of randomization. So yeah, but again, a very good point. You should try to, tweak your weights. So this is something that I was doing here. This is another algorithm that I was trying out, and I was trying out with values. This is a weight 1.832. For 1.832, I was getting the best result. So I was trying to first of all randomize this weight and then try to see which weight is giving me the best answer. So this is something like machine learning that you're trying to randomize some hyperparameters, right? Yeah. So yeah, this is pretty much it for this session. This was like a beginner level session. In the next session, we'll be talking about randomization as well. We'll be exploiting the fact that we can calculate the answer for many different outputs, right? Will you upload this on YouTube? Let's see. I don't know. Do you guys want me to upload it on YouTube? I don't know. Let's see. When will the randomization means using random function? Yes, using random weights and trying out a lot of random possibilities. Like I told you, let me just show you one possibility that you can do. Okay, so in this current answer that I have right now, do this. This is a random function. I'll just run it right now, and you will see that things change a lot. So let's try to run it for just 10 iterations, and let's see. So our current answer right now is 1591. So our answer changed to 16414. Okay. I think there is some, oh, sorry. I did not make the pick list here. Sorry, just a minute. So I need to sort of correct this part. All right, so now this should make sense. Also, initially we were getting a better answer with just one right. So let's try to keep the weight as one only for now. And this is some randomization. This is some hints that I'm giving you for what we are thinking of doing in the next session. So I also have to increase the time limit that I want on my code. So initially right now it is 1 second. 10 seconds. Let's try to do it for 1000 seconds. So let's try to have this code run for some time. So this is like some iteration. I'm trying to pick up, try removing ingredients. So what is this function doing? This is trying to remove some random ingredients. Try picking ingredients. What is this doing? This is trying to pick up some random ingredients after we have already done this. Fine. So can you see that my score is actually improving? I am only picking up ingredients and I'm only removing them when my score is increasing. So look at this. And how are we able to do this? We are only able to do this because we have a local simulator. This is very important. And I'm hinting on this again and again. You have to make a local simulator. Even if it takes 1 hour for you to make a local simulator, do it. It is very important. Can you see that we have already got the best answer that we could have till now? In input, which is this input? This is input, just a minute. This is input E, right? Fine, so this is what you're getting. So now can you see that if I let this code run for 1000 iterations and I'm doing this stuff, this will keep increasing my score. I can let this code run for 1 hour and it will give me the best answer that it can. Right? And this we are only able to do because we have a local simulator. Again and again, I'm saying this because it is very important. So this is the part for e.cpp. Let's try to submit it because we already have a score which is greater than our last answer. So let's try to submit this. This is e.cpp. Is it e.cpp or is it d.cpp? Sorry. Is it the d input or is it d input? E input. I'm not really sure. Let's see. If we get a wrong answer, then this was probably D. So we are actually getting the final answer, which was 17. So this is not printing the final answer because I don't know why, but the final answer is actually 1723. Maybe my local simulator is broken, or I don't know. Maybe I just submitted, totally random stuff on a different test case. Maybe let's try it out on D, the same thing, and let's see what our actual answer is. Right. So initially our answer is 1569. Also, can you see that our initial answer for D was 1441? So let's see, we have already improved it. We have already reached 1795 with some randomization. Right, we went from 1441 to 1795. Can you imagine? We are getting 1801. 1801 is what we are getting. So yeah, in the next session, we will be talking more about randomization, and probably in the last session, we can talk about simulated annealing. This is something that I don't know myself properly. So I will have to look that up online, and I will have to understand that. So this is something that will also help my team in the actual hashcode round. So yeah. So I'll look up simulated annealing and we can talk about that as well in the last session. Probably we'll be having 3 such sessions. And this was like a beginner session. After this session, you all should be able to get a score of 255 and something like 1400 and 1200 in this one. Once you try out some algorithms. Fine. And I'll probably try to upload it on YouTube as well. Cool. So now I think we can end this session now. For people who found this session insightful, you can probably leave a +1 or a -1 if you didn't find this insightful at all.
Yeah, how was our initial pick list was made?
Sorry, can you say again? What was the initial?
Pick list. Like
The
how did
initial
you
pick list
choose
was on this
elements?
algorithm. The initial pick list was on this algorithm. Sort the customers on the basis of number of dislikes, and then pick a customer. But if you talk about picking a customer, it just means that you're picking up the ingredients that are liked by this customer. Okay, so this is the initial pick list, and then we are doing some stuff on it.
But it was commented, right? So
Which one is commented? This is not. Sorry. Oh, just a minute. This one is commented. Probably we can have a better score now. Let's see. Oh, sorry. This one was commented. We can try this out for e.cpp again. Oh, sorry, input e, and this should be better. Okay, so we are not getting any better results here. I don't know why. I think there is some bug.
Commented, so
There is some
yeah,
bug
like
here. Okay.
How your pick list was working then?
So initially, then our pick list would have been empty. Then the actual answer that we got was total randomization. We did not use any algorithm in that
Okay.
case. But yeah, I mean, you guys get the idea, right? You have to first of all think about the algorithm. Randomization is not the main thing. Okay, the algorithm is the main thing. Please upload this on YouTube. Yeah, I will upload this on YouTube. Fine. Cool, then Chinmay, we can probably stop this, and thank you so much for attending this. We have quite a lot of people who are still attending it. So yeah, thanks a lot, means a lot to me. Yeah.